Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Day 4 with the man, Frank Scalish. Frank, it's another day. And it's another big derby on the home pond. A little bit further north this time, but the Bassmaster Open 2026 season concludes on Saturday on Lake Erie out of Buffalo. And they're about 2 hours into fishing this morning, Frank. And the top 10 already have 19 pounds.
Perfect. That's
Dude,
good.
Erie has made, I don't want to know if it's made a comeback, but it seems like it was out of fate. It's a tough place to have a 3-4 day tournament.
Listen, the reality of Great Lakes smallmouth fishing is you are so at the mercy of the weather. And depending on where you're at in the lake, it even matters even more. Because in Buffalo, you got to understand something. The lake starts to neck down and narrow down as you get towards Buffalo, all right? So if you've got predominantly strong west winds, it builds and builds and builds. As the lake starts to compress, it smushes the waves together and they get taller and taller and taller. So Buffalo is really a unique situation. The current runs out of the lake at Buffalo. So what happens is if you got an east wind in Buffalo, it literally flattens the lake right down and slows the current down, and changes the fishery completely. So wind direction matters pretty monumentally, especially if you're fishing deep offshore stuff, because it when the current slows down and it rips in Buffalo. When the current slows down, those bass will start to suspend off the structure. And so I think what we're seeing too with the advent of live scope is these guys are now able to get those suspending bass. Where in the old, I'll call it the old days, we'll call it pre-scope days, we'd have to get vertical on them. And I'd either spoon them or I would drop shot right over their heads with them when they got off the structure and started to suspend around. The problem with that is they move a lot. When the current's strong, they use the structure to their advantage. So they use it for a current break. It brings the food source right to them. They don't even have to move to get it because the bait fish and everything else go down. They want a little bit of current relief too. And so everything comes down to them and they're plastered to the structure. It's like the old saying, the rougher it is, the better the smallmouth bite is. Mm-hmm. That's why. That's exactly why.
I've never caught a smallmouth on a spoon. Just have never been up. Do they hit it as hard as they hit that chartreuse double willow leaf spinnerbait when you're burning it and it just plows it? Are you popping it and then you go and it's like you hooked a grouper in the Gulf?
Oh yeah, dude. I did a spoon story. This is hilarious. Mark Hicks was the writer.
Yep.
And we went out and it was like November, I believe. And we were doing a jig and spoon story. And we launched the boat. And this was when the mainland of Lake Erie was insanely prolific. I mean, there was gobs of smallmouth in this lake. And my buddies have been cracking them out in the 40-foot range, 40, 48 feet range. And we launched the boat and I came out of the river and we were going to head out. And when I was idling out of the river, I came off, I'm on the shallow flat. It's 15 to 20 feet. It goes out, way out, and then drops down, starts to break down to the basin. Well, I'm on this flat and my locator is not reading right. I'm getting different bottom readings. There's no picture.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah, there's no picture.
I know where this is going.
So as I was idling, I saw open spots. And I'm like, Mark, those are bait fish, man. And I'm sitting in my driver's seat. This is no lie. I'm sitting in my driver's seat and I'm idling. And I lean up over the dashboard and all I had on the deck was a spoon. I reach over the dash. I grab my spoon rod. I throw the boat in neutral. I click the bail. I let it go down and I go, boom, boom, bam. And I go, I got him, man. Dude, we sat there and it was unmerciful for 2 hours.
I promise you he was fishing too, because Mark likes to cast a line every now and then.
Oh, Mark's a great fisherman.
Yeah.
I've known Mark my entire fishing life. Mark is an absolute beast of a fisherman. And
meticulous with his articles too. Old school.
Oh, yeah. His articles are the best. So, but the funniest thing was, so we're doing this and it is like every other drop, we're smashing on them. And here we're in 15 to 18 feet of water doing this. And I looked at him and I said, I don't think we have a reason to go anywhere else but here. And he goes, yeah, I'm with you. He goes, do you ever catch any big ones doing this? And I go, yeah, man, all the time. And I go, and I got him, dude. I hit a 5-pounder.
Now, will they eat that in the summertime too?
Yeah, yeah, they will. And so whenever this is honest stuff here, guys. I never, ever, ever, ever fish Lake Erie without a spoon on my deck. And
we're talking about this type of spoon.
We're talking in
a roundabout type of way. It was probably the hammered one that was a little bit different. That wasn't, that one's got a ball bearing, and that's the War Eagle kind of tricked out one. What was the one before that? The CC spoon or something?
The Cordell CC spoon and the Hopkins Shorty.
Yep.
35. And so, but here's the thing. Here's why I gravitated towards the War Eagle, and I'll tell you why. Because I put the crane swivel and the split ring. I mean the split ring and the crane swivel on all my spoons that don't come with it. It gives it a better flutter when it's falling down, and it's a controlled drop. You don't want to snap it up and just put your rod down and let it go bam on the bottom. It's a controlled drop. You follow the line down and you watch it, because sometimes they hit it on the way down and you could see the tick. And if you don't know they hit it on the way down, the next time you go to do a double pull, your rod loads to the cork. And so, yeah.
Remind me, when you come this fall and winter, we need to go to 10 Killer, and I want to catch some spoonfish with you.
Yeah,
because that's largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, 5 to 7 foot, a lot of rock, offshore ledges, stuff like that. They eat a spoon, but I've never. I mean, I have spooned quite a bit, but I would like to get in the boat and see how you do it, because I feel like that's a lost art.
It is, and so here's the misnomer. Okay, a lot of guys on Erie back in the day used to use light line, 1/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce spoons. I literally throw nothing but 3/4 ounce. Literally. I throw it on 17-pound fluorocarbon.
And just keep cranking.
Yeah, because when I get them, dude, I just winch them to the boat. And I was fishing an event, and I drew out with Clapper. And everybody knows that dude is one of the greatest smallmouth fishermen on Lake Erie. And so Steve and I go out. Of course, I'm not even going to argue whose boat we're taking. I'm going with Steve. And we get out to the spot, and we were throwing grubs. Back then, grubs were pretty big. And we were throwing grubs on light line. And I'm on the back deck, and I'm looking at his dashboard locator, and I see a couple of big blobs come on my screen. I go, hey, Steve-O. I said, where's your back transducer located? Is it through the hull or out the transom? He goes, no, it's through the hull. You're about standing on it. I go, cool. I pick up my spoon rod. I drop it down there, and sure enough, I get the spoon into the cone angle of his rear transducer. And I pump it up over one of them big fish, and it smokes it, dude. And I crack it, and I get it, and it's a giant. And I'm winching it in, and Steve catches one on his grub, and he's got to fight it because he's using 6-pound line, and he's fighting it. I boat flip mine. I unhook it, tag it, throw it in the live well. I see another one. I throw the spoon down there and crack that one, and he's still fighting his fish, and I get the other one in the boat. And at the end of the day, the long and short of it is, at the end of the day, Steve goes, how in the hell are you catching them fish? And so I showed him. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that." You know what I mean? And here he is. He is like a legend. He's a legend on this lake, dude.
I want to see a Lake Erie tournament, paper map only with a flasher, and the only baits you can use are grub, spoon, tube, chartreuse spinnerbait, or a spinnerbait, a jerkbait, and a spook.
That'd be fun.
That's badass, Frank.
Yeah, but that's the spoon thing, you know, and it's very overlooked today, especially because of scope. You could cast at them at a greater distance with live scope. I noticed a few times that I was out the year before last, a lot of these fish got real spooky when you got on top of them. And I don't know, it could have been the sun angle, it could have been the sun angle, could have been the flat lake. There's reasons why they'll move from a shadow, because if you think about it, the only thing really they're afraid of is birds. And so when a shadow comes over them, it's probably instinctive that they get out of the way. But I only started seeing that in the last several years. When we first started fishing out there, they were not shy. Like, I caught most of my bass off of my locator directly under the boat, except if we were, drift socking with tubes. But most of them came vertical. So you remember when we were going crappie fishing with live scope, and you were explaining it to me, and I go, no, I got it. I know, I understand.
Oh yeah, you picked that up quick.
Because I've fished off of my 2D sonar for decades.
Yeah.
Vertically. And 2D sonar is tricky, because what guys don't understand is when you see the fish in the middle of your sonar, you're already 15 feet past it.
Yeah, you're looking at the first quarter inch of the
You got to look at that. So I would make my vertical bar on the side a 1/2 inch wide, and I would look at the bar almost like a flasher. So when I would see it come on the bar, the minute the fish got on the locator, it was right underneath the transducer.
You remember John Bondi?
Oh yeah, Bondi and I, we were pretty tight.
So I had Bondi on the show last week. Great show.
He's a good dude.
I would have gone 2 hours with him, but I had too many Zins and then drank 3 energy drinks and started getting the sweats and had to end the show early. I wish that wasn't the case, but like Bondi's launching into one, and I'm over here like literally. If you watch the end of the Bondi show, I'm like, I was going to say like thanks for coming on the show, and I'm like, and that was me trying not to just dry heave all over. I'm not kidding. Watch the last 3 minutes of that show. You'll see me going like this. You'll see me doing this. I'll be like, that's all we got for today. Bye. And I ran in and I was like, okay, I got to get some, because I had gotten up early because I had to get the boat ready to take in. So I'd been up since 4. I'd had about 9 Zins and 4 energy drinks, and my body was like, that is not a good combination with no sustenance whatsoever. So I learned very quickly on that. Anyway, we digress. We're not even remotely close to what we're talking about today. We have badass baits that are coming out, the Hall of Fame baits. We have a cool story that we have to show. We're going to talk about what fish see as a profile on the top water, when you want to go slender, when you want to go fat, when you want to be noisy, on top of the water, noisy. Anyway, Bondi makes these Bondi baits for giants, for muskie and whatnot. Dude. And as I was talking to him, he's got this new bait, and I know this is a LURENET show, but we talk about tons of shows and everything. Tons of baits that work. So Bondi makes all these baits, and as the scope, as everything has come out, he makes this new one. Look at this thing. This is an 1.25 ounce, 1.5 ounce bait. There's lead in here. He's pouring it around it. It's got the tail spinner on it.
Yeah.
And he's drilling, this is for pike, lake trout, stuff like that primarily.
Yeah,
this is a smaller one that they just came out with. I was like, he was saying that on the full, like 4 or 5 ounce size, they catch, vertical jigging in the Detroit River. They catch 5-6 pound smallmouth like it's going out of style. Like, does that not look like that would absolutely play? That's about 4.5 inches long. Does that not look like that would absolutely smash on what you were talking about and,
without
provide everything that you need the flash, the drop, the speed, the size, the weight.
Yeah, it's the weirdest bait on earth. They when you look at them in real life, you're like, yeah, sure, right. And then until you throw that thing and you fish it the proper way, it's a beast, man. It is a beast. Like he was trying to get me to go muskie fishing up at the Detroit River with him for quite a while, and I wanted to, and we never have, we never had gone. And when I was sponsored by OSI, I had a event that I had to do there on the Detroit River, and I had to take some guys out fishing. And unfortunately, they had 4 guys, and I couldn't run 4 guys out of my bass boat on Lake Erie. So I called John. I said, John, you want to do me a favor? I'll get you paid. He's like, yeah, what do you want? And I said, I need you to take 2 guys out. And so he's like, yeah, okay. So he shows up, and the weather was pretty cold, man. I mean, it wasn't the best of days. And he goes, let's have a tournament. Your boat against my boat. And I'm like, dude, all I want to do is take these guys out and let them. I
didn't realize how much of a sicko he is for tournament competition.
Yeah.
Like, you just still ate up with it 15 years later.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes, yeah, we'll just do, best fish, just one best fish in the boat. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm down for that. And the guys that I had gone out with, they wanted to go largemouth fishing. And I'm like, oh man, alive. If Bondi's going smallmouth fishing, we're not winning with largemouth. So I said, all right, we'll go largemouth fishing. So I took them largemouth fishing in the morning. And it was a great bite, dude. We were catching them on horny toads and trickworms in the eelgrass. And we were catching the crap out of them. But our best largemouth was like 3.5 pounds. And so I'm like, dude, I said, you guys, look, let's go out to the lake. I said, we're not going to go really far, but we're going to catch smallmouth, but we're not going to go really, really far. And they're like, okay, let's go. So I go start running out there, and you know how it is,
not dangerous, but where you're like, these are some interesting swells.
Yeah, and they're getting big-eyed, and I'm like, it'll be okay, guys. It'll be good. I said, once we get out of this funnel in the mouth, it'll flatten out for us. And we get out, and it lays not flat, but it was one
of those rollers.
Yeah, it was manageable.
It's
manageable. So I'm not thinking nothing about it. So I said, Bondi wants to do a tournament, and I know John really good. He ain't coming in with 1 fish. He's bringing 5. So we're bringing in 5. And they're like, okay. So I pull up on the end of this. Dude, this is the greatest. I pull up on the end of this one break line, and I'm explaining to these 2 guys how they're going to cast and retrieve. And we're throwing tubes, 1/2 ounce and 3/4, because the current's strong there. And I said, let it hit the bottom and start sliding it across the bottom. Don't let it get in the rocks. And
pour boys, was that the thing back then? Was that like the only hand poured kind of thick tube? Okay.
Yeah. So I catch a good one. One of the other guys catches a decent one, and I'm like, nah, we'll throw these back. And then the other guy catches one, and it's like 4 pounds, and he's like freaking out. So I get it. I go, we'll keep this one. I put it in the live well. He's all jacked up, right? So I catch on back-to-back casts. I get a 7-1 and a 6-15.
Oh, you've got him smoked. You got a 4-2-7.
Listen, this is no lie.
You got 3 for 18 in the box at that point?
Yeah, this is no lie, dude. So the other guy catches like a 4 3/4. So we throw that in the boat. I catch a 5, and I catch another 5.
Oh, you're at like 28.5, 29 pounds on your best 5.
I grabbed the guy's 4-pounder, and I just chucked it out of the boat.
Which was prize PB.
Dude. he is like, what did you do? That's the biggest smallmouth.
He's probably getting that thing mounted.
Yeah, that's the biggest smallmouth I ever caught in my life. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I was just thinking about our accumulative weight. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is, Matt. You're in call mode. You're just doing your job, man. And, oh my God. So so Bondi calls and he goes, hey, you know, how you doing? He goes, I go, okay. I go, okay. He
now
goes,
it's a head game at this point. You're feeling each other out.
100%.
Because you don't want him to be like, oh, I got to go to the freaking juice hole.
Exactly. So he's got a good limit. And he goes, I don't know. He goes, you better, I hope you put your game face on today. And I go, what do you want to do, John? He goes, I think we need to weigh in about an hour early.
Oh, because he thinks he's got it. He doesn't want you to, quote, catch up.
So I go like this. I go, yeah, that's good. My guys are getting tired. So on the way in, when we're going in, and I tell my guys, I said, listen, I'm going to make him take his fish out of the live well first. And no matter what they pull out of the live well, I want you to act like it's the biggest bass you've ever seen in your life. And so they're like, okay. So and here I have to be brutally honest with you. He stayed in the river the whole day, and my hat is off to him because he had it figured out. Okay. So when we come in, this is the best, dude. When we come in, he's like, oh, take your fish out, I go, no. I said, you wanted to come in early. You got to take your fish out. So he's like, okay. And you know, John, he's got that look on his face. You know, he's like, you know how he is. And they reach in and they pull like a 3.5, 3 3/4 out.
Good fish.
Yeah. And he goes like that. And my guys are like going, oh, yeah, they're, oh, and then,
this is cold hearted.
Yeah. So he pulls out 5 and he had a good bag, like legit, like it was legit.
Low 20s.
Probably 19, 18, 19, but it was legit. And for the river, if you pinned it to the river, he probably wins. Okay. So I open up my live well and I'm scrambling around, and you know how it is, Matt, when you got all them fish in there and you're trying to find the small one, right? So I'm in there looking, and I grabbed the smallest one, and it's like, 5 or a smidge under, and I got it. And I go like this, and I pull it out, and Bondi goes, oh, like that. And I go, oh, I said, that's the wrong one. And I threw it back in the lake. So I did that with the 3 smaller ones, and I had the 2 behemoths in there, and I go, all right, here's the real one. And I reach in there, and I got both of them, and I go like this. And dude,
day 3 classic.
Yeah, dude. And then you know how that you pull them out of the live well and they look like they never stop coming. Mm-hmm. And I just go like that. And he just goes, you got to tell me where you were at. He is such a good guy. He's one of my favorite people that I've met on tour.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to him in a decade plus, and Charlie Hartley kept saying, oh, you got to get Bondi on, you get it. And so I had him on, and I need to get him back on because it was it's rare. Like I think one of the reasons why you resonate with so many of the viewers and listeners, Frank, is because you're old school, but you never lost your passion for it.
No.
And Bondi is old school, but he never lost his passion for it, and he's still innovative. You guys have a lot in common, like as far as the bait design and the big water and the passion for it. And I think those are 3 things that you can't fake, which is experience and passion and the desire to continue learning.
Let me tell you something about Bondi. He's a great fisherman, dude.
Yeah.
He is a great fisherman. And a great guy. He's a super good guy. He really is. I had so much fun with him, man.
What is he? I think he said he's in Windsor now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because I hit him with like the Windsor Spitfires of the OHL, and he was like, what's a dude in Oklahoma who does a fishing show know about the major junior hockey team?
Right, exactly.
Spitfires.
But that's your thing, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
That's your thing, which is so cool. It's super cool, man.
Right. Still breaking hearts even on a sponsor day. Dude, there's nothing like, so Cranford and I do this a lot too, because now we've got Bubba scales, so we don't have to bring the fish in. You can't in Oklahoma, like unless you have a specific tag, you can only box one fish over 16 inches. So we've got the Bubba scales that are accurate, and we'll go out and we'll have like little 2 or 3 boat, just not tournaments, but just for fun. We'll go out and put a little bit on the line and go out to the lake. But it reminded me when you were doing that, we went to a new lake last year, and he's freaking good. I mean, he's on the Elite Series right now. And I was fishing with Kevin Ledoux, who has also been on the Elite Series too.
That's just how it goes.
We went to this lake, and we knew it had quality, but we weren't exactly sure. And I saw him running around. Ledoux starts out, he flips up like a 5.5. Anyway, we figure out delete a minnow on this pond. and we had a small fish, but we had like 4 for 23 or 5 for 23 with a small one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to call Cranford, because every time we've had it, Cranford would come in and be like, oh, I got 31. And you're like, oh, cool. Good for you. You win again. Well, Cranford I call him, and of course I am coy, just like John thought he was with you. And I'm like, man, it's pretty tough, but when you get one, you get one. And he's like, man, you're telling me. And I'm like, you got him? And he's like, I got him pretty good. And I go, you got a limit? He's like, not yet. And I said, yeah, we do. I said, but we need to make some calls. And he's like, yeah, I just need one more bite. And I said, well, how much you got? And he like hummed and hawed, which I thought was a little odd at the time, because like typically if you've got, exactly what you have if you've got the Bubbas. And he's like, oh, we got, we're 4. We got over 20. And I said, with 4? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, and this we had all day. And I tell Ledoux, because we were pumped, I was like, we got to fish. So we catch another one. We've got 27.5 on our best 5. And we come in, and Cranford, like, legitimately, I was like, he's hard to beat around here. You can't beat him or anything. Turns out that sucker never figured it out. And he had like a limit for 12.5 pounds. And all day we could have been like enjoying it. And we were running around like a chicken with our head cut off, trying to catch more 6 and 7 pounders, because I was like, he's got to have 30. He's got to have 30. And I'm idling in. We had 27. We catch, weigh, release, and I'm going, man, we needed like 2 more big bites, and we would have had him. Waits till we all get up, in the parking lot. We're right next to each other, and I'm like, all right, what's the damage? He's like, 12.7. And I was like, wait. We didn't enjoy that day at all, because he's like, I was just screwing with you.
Hey, what are friends for?
Yeah.
That's all I could tell you is what are friends for. You
want to hear a good story about one of your new friends that you met at the Classic last year? You remember Grant, who you gave the Booyah Frogs to?
Yeah.
Who was at the Classic at the meet and greet at the deal. So I get a very excited call from my mom, and they were out to lunch the other day, and my dad was wearing a BTL hat, and someone stopped him and said, hey, BTL hat. Well, it was Andy, Grant's dad, who was also at the Classic.
Yeah, I have his letters right up here.
Yeah. So he said, dude, big BTL. Anyway, they grew it, but he said, he sent me an email afterwards, said he met my parents and all that stuff, and he goes, I don't think Frank has seen the fish that Grant, my boy, caught on the Booyah Frogs that you gave him at the Classic.
Outstanding.
They're like big ones.
Dude, like that's a for real bass.
Like there it is with the frog right there.
And the Bubba scale. And you could tell he's not doing anything funny with, he's holding it properly. I mean, those are some absolute units. Those are nice fish.
So those were on the frog. So he wanted to convey to you, thank you again for those frogs. And it was awesome. So he's wearing the BTL shirt in that too.
Good job. Good
The
job
best.
out of you, man. Good
Well, I
job.
didn't do anything. I just
Not
opened
you.
up an email.
That is unbelievable.
But it was funny in his email too. He was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "My partner, they were there for a work trip. He like sat in the truck, and I could just imagine my mom badgered him about fishing questions." He's like, "My partner, thank goodness, was very patient for the 10-minute convo that we had at Culver's."
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, that kid is something else, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's,
and his
I'm not going to lie. That is pushing my PB on a frog fish. I think if you know me, you know what I've talked about. I like to throw frog. I throw a frog. I just am not around a lot of frog stuff and have never thrown it. Like that would be equivalent probably to my PB frog fish, which is what, 4.5, 5 pounder.
Oh yeah. Look at the weather conditions for frogging.
Ideal.
Yeah. They're ideal.
Looks like in the background, if you look in the background of that photo, it looks like you might see some of that slick water where the grass is just like right on the very surface.
Yeah, buddy. That's especially if you look to the right of your screen, upper right, and then behind the outboard.
Yep.
Way back against that.
And that's also one of those outboards that when you fire it up, it gives you all the nostalgia smells, feels, and sounds.
Oh, yeah, that's like mine. And mine gives me the nostalgia. Is it ever going to start again?
Looks like we're drifting in, folks.
Looks like
pull out the tubes and drop shot.
Looks like we're on trolling motor. We're on 36 high. We're really moving now.
Oh my gosh. All right. I called you last week and I said, Frank, are you aware?
You said, Houston, we have a problem.
I didn't say we had a problem. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that the second round of Hall of Fame baits, which you've talked about on the show, the proceeds of this go to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. You did it last year. You were at the Hall of Fame. You paraded it around, gave away the stuff. But at this year's Classic, you unveiled the 4 legend baits. You know, like last year it was the Rick Clunn, it was Roland Martin, it was Larry Nixon. And was there one more, or was there just 3?
There was one more. It was Roland, Larry,
Rick.
Was it?
It wasn't.
Oh, it was.
We got to figure this out.
Oh my gosh, in heaven. He had the big O. He had.
Yes, it was. Bill Dance?
No, it was
Bobby Murray.
Bobby Murray.
Bobby Murray. But you unveiled this year's, which are up on the LURENET website. They kind of they put them out there.
Yeah, it was early. It was an early release. I didn't realize it until literally 2 days ago. When did we talk? 3 days ago? 2 days ago?
3 days ago.
3 days ago.
But we're talking Bob Cobb. We're talking Johnny
Morris, Bob Cobb,
Jimmy Houston,
and Denny Brauer.
All topwaters, all collabed with you for what colors that they wanted and signed them. Not actually signed them, but like the same thing that was on the last ones where they sign it and then it's produced.
They sign it and then they print it on the bait.
Yeah, limited run, $9.99 out. So we're going to run through those baits and kind of went behind them, because while you've talked about them, you've not been able to show, talk, and actually talk about them. So
I can never show you guys, and I've been sitting on them for a while. So I'll start out with Denny's. Denny wanted a Magnum Torpedo in Threadfin shad, so I did that for him, and I'm going to show you the original because the signature's in the way of some of the coolness on the one side of the bait. So what I did was, it's got, and I hope this comes out.
It's perfect. Yep.
So it's got a gold pearl on top of this olive, but it's got a gold ghosted scale pattern above the lateral line. And then right below the lateral line, this is I call it it's like an ivory bone color. You know how the Threadfin have that different color right underneath the lateral line. Mm-hmm. So I put that on there, and then I did silver ghost scales on the belly with some blue pearl on it. And of course I do the solid gut bag on them. You know what I mean? And the hard part about the torpedo is I had to do these by hand. The gill plates, I had to do them by hand because there's
so that's the one you actually painted. So the actual production one does not have the Frank Scalish autograph on the bottom.
No,
I wish it did. That would have been badass.
Yeah, no, the actual production bait has the Denny Brauer right on the lateral line, but they did a fabulous job imitating my color.
Yeah, that looks phenomenal, and that's a big bait for a torpedo.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into this when we talk about profile. Then I did Bob Cobb. Okay, so I have to be honest with you guys. I am generally not a nervous guy when I meet somebody that I admire or somebody that has motivated me in some way. So I had to call Bob, and you got to understand something. I grew up listening to Bob Cobb do Bassmasters for most of my life. All right. So I had to call him up and go over this. So I call him up and he answers the phone, and I got tongue-tied. Like, hey, this is Bob Cobb, and they're catching bass. No, he said, this is Bob Cobb, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I was literally like taken back by it.
Yeah. Hold on just a second. Pause the story. For those who don't know who Bob Cobb is, because we do have we got to do some history here. So I just pulled up a random thing. Let's see if I can hit it with audio here, because you got to hear the audio. So he was like the voice of Bassmaster and a writer and an early member. Like he is. Bassmaster today doesn't look anything or may not be around without Bob Cobb. Here we go. There's Bob Cobb.
Yep. Do we have audio?
Can you hear it?
No.
Barely. Can you not hear that?
No, I can't.
Here, let me try it again. Entire screen. Oh, also share system audio.
Because you could.
You bet shake your hand again, buddy. It's been a pleasure to be on the ride, and let's have a great 20th anniversary.
It will be. Thank you, Bob.
Right.
Hello, I'm Bobby Murray. I won the first Bassmaster.
Anyway, that's Bob Cobb. He's done everything. TNN would start out with Bob Cobb, and this is the Bassmasters.
Yeah, and then he would add his little phrases in there. He would add his little phrases in there when he was doing the tournament, and they're catching bass. You know what I mean? Or he's on the mother load. Like a lot of the phrases guys use today came from him, except the phrase biggin, which I hate. But so anyway, so I got to talking to him, and he's like, Frank, what I really want the old Zara Spook, the wooden bait with the old Bullfrog pattern on it. And I'm like, I looked him up, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Bob, I said, you know what? I said, I will entertain that old Bullfrog pattern if I can get this bait made out of wood. And we couldn't produce it again the way it used to be produced. And so I didn't want to change the old one, because the old one it's vintage, it's special, and I didn't want to change it. So I call Bob back, and I go, Bob, I got a really good idea. I said, I can't get it made in the wood the way the original one was made, because they changed things around on the original. The original had the line pull right out of the nose, and there's a lot of things. So I said, I can't really get it done that way. So we're going to put it on the Zara Spook, but it'll be the plastic body. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, can I doctor up the Bullfrog a little bit to make it more realistic? And he's like, oh yeah, Frank, you do whatever you want to do, man. If it looks good, I mean, So I wanted to do something really special for him. So I started researching bullfrogs across the United States, and I literally found about a dozen pictures of bullfrogs, and I worked off of live photography on these things. And so I came up with this bullfrog pattern. And here it is. So this is the Bob Cobb bullfrog. And it is nice, dude. I got gold, just like a real bullfrog has, that gold in the ear. I don't know if you could see the pearl in there, but there's gold pearl in the ear over here. At any rate, this is the Bob Cobb bullfrog, and this is very special to me because it's Bob, not taking away from anybody else that's in this thing. But this means a lot to me, this one here, and he loves it. And so I'm really happy about it. And they did a really good job on this bait. Look at this. So you saw mine, right? So they did a pretty good job on it. Even the gold in the eye and the gold in the ear pot socket. So yeah, so this is Bob Cobb's bullfrog. And like I said, this one means a lot to me, just for nostalgia reasons. And then the next one I had to do was Jimmy Houston, and I know Jimmy fairly well, and so I'm like, and basically he gave me carte blanche, whatever I want. And so I'm like, I got to do something with personality, because Jimmy's a one of a kind. You know what I mean? His personality, just the way he is. So I wanted to come up with something very different for him. So I did, if nobody knows what it is, it's called a red-eyed tree frog. All right. So I did for him, I did a red-eyed tree frog.
Very cool.
And it's pearled up, dude. This thing is pearled up. I hand painted the eyes and everything. I mean, this thing, Matt, can you pull it up? Can you pull a red-eyed tree frog up?
Yeah. Hold on. I was getting messages. I had accidentally hit the old mute button on my
That's
end.
okay. That's okay. So they also painted this thing exact. I mean, this is an exact duplicate. This is so good.
There it is.
Yeah. Can you pull up the real red-eyed tree frog?
Oh, the real red-eyed tree frog.
I want to show you the model for this.
Yeah, just hang tight.
Yeah, I know. We could do it, Matt.
You want a picture or do you want like a video?
No, just a picture's good.
Okay.
You know, it could be just an image of a real red-eyed tree frog.
Okay. Here's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so just hit one to zoom in on, can you? Anyone? It don't matter. No, not that one. Show the sides, dude. You got to show the sides.
Where's this? Oh, I'm trying to find. Well, they don't like to show the sides of themselves. Oh, that's a good one.
So I did that. So anyway, at any rate, so I did.
Oops,
there you go.
I don't know what I just hit. We got to be careful here.
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
There we go.
There you go. So I did the.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, no, that's.
So I did the red-eyed tree frog for Jimmy. It's great. So yeah, and then
hold that back up again, Frank. Oh yeah, that is a red-eyed tree frog, and that is such his personality too.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was a really fun bait to paint, which, by the way, this gave me an idea for a signature series line that's coming down in the future. So just get ready for it, because you guys are going to go wild. So Johnny Morris was a little bit tricky because, like at the last Bass Hall of Fame banquet, he was not available because he was saltwater fishing.
Right.
So he is probably, for love and addiction, a saltwater fisherman. So I wanted a bait for him that would translate to either fresh or saltwater. So we did the Super Spook, the big one, the 3-hooker. Super Spook, and what I wanted to do is give something that could be either or. You can fish
chameleon.
You can fish it salt, you can fish it fresh, either or. And so if you pull up the Yum forward facing sonar minnow, look at the color called Milkshaker.
Okay.
I love that color in the forward-facing sonar minnow, so I painted it on the Super Spook, but I made it a little more fishy looking for the spook, if you could find it.
That's a pretty darn close match.
Yeah, it's really, if you saw it in person, it's almost an exact. Now I made the dark. Eye sockets and cheeks and stuff just to give it more of a minnow type thing.
And then the cool thing is he signed it, but I like how he did it underneath.
Yes.
It works. Johnny Morris, happy fishing, ! Underline. So yours is the original one that he doesn't have signed. This is
right.
So here's in the package.
So here's the original in the package.
Well done, Frank.
So yeah, and here, look, they did a fabulous job duplicating this color.
Yep.
The other thing I did was I added the blood splatter on the gill plates that the minnow doesn't have, but I needed to make it translate to a topwater bait.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's that, and they're available right now on LureNet as well.
They are $9.99. Use code capital BTL 25 to get 15% off all.
Yeah, and all the proceeds go right to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yep, this is kind of a labor of love. Like we've had guys have kind of crossed brands to do this, and it's kind of become like an annual thing.
Yeah, because a lot of guys are represented by other lure companies, a lot of the pros that get these, and they all agreed to put, to do this for the common cause, not for, individual proprietorship. It's for the common cause. So it's really a good thing. And for those of you who've never been to the Springfield Bass Pro Shop and seen all that, it's very good. The aquarium's amazing. It's just, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
The funny thing was last year, I still feel so. Last year they auctioned off a shadow box with all of these in it, and and
my original illustrations for each one.
Yeah, so you had the auctioneer up front, and then I was in the back, and then you had Frank there. This was a live auction. We talked about this before, but then you had Frank, and then I think it was Polinick who was holding it.
Yeah,
and I thought I was going to talk, but we hadn't communicated with the auctioneer, so it basically involved Frank just walking around following his shadow ox box, just waving at people for 4 or 5 minutes, and knowing my social anxiety in situations like that, Frank occasionally would just look over at me and be like, I'm never going to forgive you. Because I said, go, because I thought you guys were going up front to get on stage to show it.
That's what I thought.
He was just walking the shadow box around the room.
So people could see it.
Following him around the room. And I immediately went, oh, this is not how I planned it. And every once in a while, you would just look back and be like, I can't believe you told me to go follow this guy. But it raised a ton of money. So.
Yeah, it did well. It did really well. I think that shadow box went for $4,200.
Yeah, and Bruce Stanton behind that, big
Yeah.
time. He's on the president board of directors, Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Well, he's been on the board of directors, now he's a president, all sorts of things. So big shout out to him too for also he's the one who goes and says, hey, can we use your guy for this, for the Hall of Fame? And they said yes, and then brought you in for it. You actually kind of unveiled these colors at the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame mixer in March with Frankie, which had to be cool. You can go on the Hall of Fame and see, and Frankie's holding 2 of them and you're holding 2 of them, and so here they are. So get them until they're gone.
Yeah.
And use code capital BTL 25.
And so the mixer's at the Classic, right?
Mixer was at the Classic that we unveiled the colors at, and then the Hall of Fame is this September, like the third week of September, but I'll be at the Bassmaster EQs.
Yeah.
So I won't be there. So you'll be on your own.
Yeah. Bummer.
Is Rach coming this year, or are you just?
I said, Rach, if they got the room, you want to go? She goes, like what we did last year, you know? And I'm like, yeah, just like that. And she goes, once is enough for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it is fair. It is totally fair.
That's fair. But I think she had a good time last year.
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah, that whole facility that Johnny has is, well, it's the best in the country. That's why it's one of the best aquarium in the country, like 6 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm amazed at it actually, and wish I could have spent more time just standing around going through that. But that's
what I wonder. Like, so do you think Johnny ever just at like 10 o'clock at night ever
grabs a bourbon and goes to the big aquarium?
just goes in there and just soaks in the ambiance of that aquarium? Because, you know, when we do the Hall of Fame, which is actually, they did it to where now you have to walk through the Hall of Fame. So all those hundreds of thousands of attendees to the aquarium have to go through the Hall of Fame, get a taste of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Guys have put on the board, have put thousands of hours of volunteer work into making this thing what it is today. But I wonder if he ever we get it when it's closed. So you have to go down there to do a plaque unveiling, and you get a little bit of it. But I wonder, like, if he ever just hangs out in there and sips on a bourbon and
I don't know,
admires his Murray cod and all the other exotics in the
replica of Hemingway's.
Because I would be like in there all the time.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Same here.
You've been propositioned.
Drunk would you scare me? That's all I'm telling you right now. Is in another time, in another place, things might have been a little different. But no, you scare me.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe we could auction off. You could be Frank's date to the Hall of Fame. I would not do that to you, Frank.
Obviously, I would not agree to that.
You've got a 95% chance of that working out really good, but in case of that 5%,
there's a 5% chance that I'm not willing to go down. Yeah. Oh my God, is that funny?
Well, good job on that. Yeah, that's kind of an annual thing, and each one is unique in its own. I really like that Johnny's is the simplest, and then not the simplest, but kind of the cleanest. But I love that he added the little caption, the happy fishing underneath it. And then Jimmy's totally matches his personality. Denny's, if you were to say what type of topwater describes Denny Brauer, the Mag Torpedo is pretty 100%. Much spot on.
100%.
And then Bob Cobb is old school and OG as it gets. Like, you know, when he talked to you about that, he was thinking, harking back to his days as a member of a bass club, fishing the original wood Bullfrog spook, and was probably thinking of specific bites that he got on that bait when it came back. So a lot of nostalgia there.
I mean, that's how it goes. Like, you know, there's certain lures you just don't forget, you know, as you've had experience with them growing up. There's certain lures you don't forget. Like when I was a boy, the biggest thing was the Mepps Alga number 3 inline spinner, you know, the black and yellow one. I used to sneak on the golf course ponds when I was like 10 and just annihilate the bass out of that.
That's probably when you first noticed that Christmas tree.
Yeah, but it was only that big then.
You said, just wait.
I said, wait till you grow up, big boy.
That sucker's coming home with me.
Thanks,
Hey,
Barry. I appreciate it.
Frankie was just in town. He actually, I forgot to totally tell you, actually crashed here for a night. He was Brent from Willie Pete's was retired from the military. It's an incredible ceremony, very impressive.
That is.
But we were sitting there drinking a cold one, and I asked Frankie, I was like, I said, how was it with the whole family? He's like, man, I only got like, one or 2 days with the whole family at home. And he said, but it's kind of, by the time I got there, they were like, they had pretty much taken dad through the ringer, and he was just a shell of his former self.
Oh yeah.
By the final night, after having the whole family, all the boys and daughters there for the previous 8 nights. But I said, I asked him, I said, dude, I said, does Frank like ever just like, he goes, no. He goes, all these badass stories. He goes, he doesn't. I said, you get those out of him on day 4. He's like, he doesn't sit around and tell these incriminating stories to the family. He's like, a lot of those we learned about on day 4.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. That is so funny, man. Yeah, those kids wore me out. They just wore me out, man. He wasn't lying. I was hollow-bodied frog by the time Frankie showed up.
Okay. Speaking of which, there's some new stuff that just came out. You have the Booyah, the Flashpoint Speed Walker, a bunch of different types of Zara Spooks. You talked about how jitterbugs and torpedoes versus how important and how do you decide? We'll get a little nitty-gritty. We'll get some fishing talk in here. The profile and shape of the top water. Let's just go open water. Let's not do like the frog and grass, and that's a whole nother show on itself. But open water, you've got round, thin, big, wide, wobbling, walking, floating on the surface, somewhat submerged. And obviously when that fish is looking up, what it's seeing, you've got sound, you've got visibility, and you've got vibration,
right?
And movement. So how are you determining when you want to throw a top water, what shape and size you want to throw in open water during this late summer, early fall time of the year?
All right. So the first thing I take into account is what's the weather, because wind changes everything. So for example, if it's windy out, you're fighting with wave noise and everything else. So when it's windy, I'll take the big Super Spook or the one knocker, because they make a lot of noise, and I need the noise factor to cut through all the noise from the water surface, from the waves and the wind. If I have to, the other thing I take into account is how deep are these fish coming from, because the deeper the fish are coming to get it, the bigger it has to be, the more noisy it has to be, especially if you've got wind. Now, ripples, they make a difference too, because it's making the commotion on the top, and you have to profile that bait. Because bass, the one thing you have to understand is bass see contrast better than anything. Okay, so you have to contrast. That's why a lot of guys would throw the black spook a lot, because it contrasted pretty well. Pearls help you with that. As the bait pitches and rolls, you get a color change from belly to side to back. As the baits, when you walk a bait, it doesn't just walk like this, it rolls when it walks. And so that offers you contrast. Now, if it's slick flat out and calm, I'm going to like a Super Spook that doesn't make any noise, a more slender bait that's more finessey when you fish it, and I'm not fishing it hard and erratic. Like I'll just go with it. Where if it's real noisy, or I got to pull them out of heavy cover, or I'm pulling them from deeper water, then I want something that's going to make a commotion. And so I'll work it harder. I'll work it, make it throw water, make it do things. It's funny enough, we were talking about this Magnum Torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about the torpedoes and crazy shads, basically your prop baits, is you could get them to cross boundaries with conditions. So for example, like this, you could fish this bait subtly by slow pulling it, and the blade just goes when you pull it, or you could really pull it and could make it go, you know what I mean, to kick up more water, make more of a commotion. So you have to understand what each bait's capabilities are and where that crossover is. If I'm fishing heavy grass where the grass isn't on the surface, it's maybe 3 feet below the surface, but it's thick down there, I want a noisy bait. I want something that's going to pull them from the suspending underneath the grass to come up and get it. The coolest thing to me is the Super Spook Jr. Lends itself really well to that because it's a smaller profile bait. Now, that being said, you have to understand what size forage your bass are keying in on. Because if they're keying in on 6 and 7 inch gizzard shad or bigger thread fins, you got to stick with the larger profile because that's what they've been targeting on. If they're keying in on smaller bait fish, then the Super Spook Jr., a small popper, the P70, the P71's a little bit bigger size, and it actually walks the dog really nice. So you could do both things with that particular bait. You could pop it and gurgle it, or you could walk it, you know. And that bait got really famous because guys were actually flipping it into the cover and working it in the cover with heavy line, super heavy line, and fishing it that way.
So get this. So like, are you more likely if there's a little bit of chop on the water you were talking about working it faster, but are you also more likely then to tie on like a chugging spook that helps you throw more water and make more commotion? Like like if a chugging spook, is that something that you're going to work it really slow and calm, or are you going to go, okay, I need to throw water, I need to make movement, I need to have a bigger profile, so then the rougher it is, the more resistance you want on that bait, whether it's working it aggressively to get the bait to turn 90 degrees, so then you're moving the water when you slash it back, so instead of a pull, it's a sharp twitch, so that spook's go do instead of like this when you said calm, and then the chug and spook adds. So
correct.
Okay.
I want it spitting. I want it making noise. I want it worked hard.
Gotcha.
I want the noise. I need the noise to bring the fish up from deep. Like, you know how a lot of guys will fish long tapering points. Literally, there's nothing there. It's just an underwater point, and it was really big for spotted bass for a while. You'd throw a spook or something on these long tapering points, and you're literally fishing open water, and you're in some instances calling these fish up from 15, 16 feet
so
deep.
That's why the cotton cordell pencil popper on the blueback herring lakes worked, because it wasn't yes, it was the size, and yes, it was that, but it had all of the properties that you need to call those fish, because you're casting at a high percentage area, but that high percentage area could be 50 yards on either side of it. And out of all of the baits that you could do, that bait with the size, with the angle in the water, with the hard knock in it, with the big booty that goes below the surface, it had everything that it needed to call those big largemouth and big spots that are blueback eaters. And
I am so surprised you mentioned that bait, because I have 3 of them in my boat at all times, always.
And they look obscenely big.
They look enormous, but here's the beautiful part about them. Because they're tail weighted, all right, when you crack it, because they're tail weighted, it spins around on that rear end of the bait, and it has a wide turn, and it throws water. Like I've worked those things so hard at times that the water the bill throws will throw it 2 feet. Like your splash goes off of it. But if you listen to it, that bait's more a representation of fleeing shad when they're popping out of the water. It could represent one animal, or it could represent a multitude of animals trying to get out of the water, get out of the way from being attacked. That bait is a sleeper bait. To me, it's a must have. At least you have to have a couple of them in your boat. Okay, so that's the speed walker. Now
okay, so I'm just saying compare those two, because I feel like this is also designed as a herring imitator. It potentially to do, but
Yes.
Walk me through. This is just a great example of the difference of the profile and the attitude of like a new speed walker and that pencil popper.
Okay, so the speed walker could be both subtle and erratic. Now, the cool thing about the speed walker is you could fish it super fast and it looks like a darting shad. It walks super easily, it stays on the top, and it's like skims around on the top. So it looks like when you see, and we've all seen it fishing, where you see a shad in the water and it's running away from something and it's halfway out of the water and it's still in the water going. That thing looks just like that. I mean, it is incredible. Now, you know, you have to remember that conditions are going to tell you how much noise you have to make, how natural the bait has to be, et cetera, because you have to take into account all of the variables. And then of course, sunny days versus cloudy days, windy days versus flat days, days when there's a slight ripple on the water. Are you pulling them from deep water, open deep water? Are you pulling them from heavy cover? Now, when they're busting bait fish, that speed walker's dynamite when they're busting bait, because it looks just like.
And that's something where you know where it is. But if you're like, I want to see if there are fish on around this tapering point, long cast, moving water, that's where you're going to go. Bigger profile, louder noise, pull those fish to the bait.
Right.
If you know, if you're shallow, if you're on a isolated cover, if you kind of know where the fish are, you can get it closer. You're wanting a bait that maybe doesn't move as far, maybe has a less aggressive profile and really lets those fish eat what you know is there, because you're not trying to get them to come from half a block away. Right.
And so like I go pretty subtle during the tail end of the spawn and then the post spawn. That's when I throw my prop baits, my crazy shads, etc. Because then I work it really meticulously, nice and easy, where I just go and keep it real subtle. I'm fishing much shallower. The bass are coming off the spawn, so they're kind of beat a little bit from all the spawning activity and guarding fry. And so I'm giving them something that's easy. It's easy for them to get. And if you notice, like the popar bite, like sometimes you'll go out and they'll be, oh my gosh, there was this hellacious popar bite. And most of the time it's right on the first break of the shallow grass where it starts to break down and the bass are recovering and they're not working the popar crazy and erratic. As the post spawn progresses, then you're starting to get more erratic. The bass have rested, they're feeding up. Then you could start to get aggressive because now these fish have recovered already. They're not quite out on summertime pattern, or conversely heavy cover. Heavy cover is, when you're fishing around heavy cover, that's another thing. If you have to pull them out of the cover, you got to be a little bit more aggressive with it. If it's clear water, you don't have to be as aggressive with it. The clearer the water, the less aggressive you're going to fish it, unless you're trying to pull them from a distance or pull them up from a depth.
Okay. Next question. You talk about this on crankbaits and everything, how the fish is hooked, if fish are pulling off, you're changing colors, you're changing that type of stuff. On a topwater, you'll have those days where they'll miss it, or they won't eat it, or they'll come off. Or there's a question here where, what do you do about the fish that follow it back to the boat when you reel it in after you're done with the cast? We talked a lot on this show about adjustments on crankbait and what the bite will tell you on whether you need to speed it up, slow it down, change the color, change the reel, or whatever. When it comes to topwater, what are you changing if you're getting bit, but you're not converting or translating those bites into fish in the boat?
The first thing I want to do is I want to look at the cadence that I'm fishing it. Maybe the cadence isn't quite right. Maybe it's not, I'm not triggering them. I mean, maybe I'm not working it fast enough, or maybe I'm working it too fast. So I check the cadence on walking baits and pop-our style baits, tail feathers, because then I can pause the bait and the tail feathers will do what they do in the water with the crystal flash and the feather movement when the bait's at rest. So it looks like, you know, the tail of a fish moving. And a lot of times the bass will be underneath it, and then that tail starts flicking, and woof, up they come and get it. So that's the next thing I do. Size is probably the third thing I look at. And then here, if I'm getting them to follow a walking bait and they're not committing to it, maybe I'm going to go to a pop-our style bait.
You haven't even mentioned color.
Yeah, because here's the thing, okay? If you're silhouetting, whether you're silhouetting the sky, the environment, or you have a good silhouette on the belly that the bass can see. Now, because of the naturality of bait fish, the belly is the most solid, hardest part of the bait fish. They can see that belly. The rest of the bait fish may be transparent, but the gut area is always solid. The gut area is never transparent because it's got all its entrails and everything in there. It can't be transparent. The whole bait might be translucent except for that. So a lot of the time when I do topwater colors, I have that distinction between the belly and the rest of the bait.
And that's important. And to be quite frank, no pun intended, I'll say this. I have to be careful because you're a master lure painter, and we just dropped 4 topwater Hall of Fame lure colors in that. But when it comes to topwater, I feel like there is an element of, oh, that looks badass. And it's a confidence thing for the guy and how badass it looks on certain. Now, if you're doing one that's dipping, diving, dodging, ducking and things, you talked about that on the show too, that can be important to have the lateral line on there and the pearls and the flash up there. But especially on like just the slower, more traditional, like there's an element of like on the color number 7 on that type, there's an element of, that's just a badass looking lure. And I like throwing that over something that's just drab and normal up there too.
Right. And here, and that bait works. We've gotten hundreds of photographs.
Oh yeah. No, I get so many freaking people that are like, dude, I'm smoking them on the color number 7.
But if you look at the way I designed the color, I designed it with the purpose of the show in mind, clearly.
Yeah.
But I also wanted it to catch fish. Like it was important for me that could be a viable fishing bait. So I pearled up the belly real nice, gradiated into the purple sides. And so what you have when that bait pitches and rolls, you're going to have a purple tint to it. The orange on the bait it's just a target. To be honest with you,
you're giving them glimpses.
Yeah, it's just a target. And the orange on the bait when it's moving isn't really orange because it's moving. It's like if you paint one spoke of your rim red and the other spoke of your rim white, and you spin the tire, it looks pink. It doesn't look red and white; it looks pink. And so what that orange is doing while that bait's moving and pitching and rolling, it's muting itself out and it's giving you a body color. So it's going to offer a little bit different contrast on the dark sides. And so that's really why that bait works. I mean, theoretically, I designed it for the show, but when I painted it, I wanted it to be viable. Most of the baits I paint they'll catch fish. When I say most of the baits, because I worked on a signature series for next year that I made collectible, because I have half of them are natural that are designed for fishing, half of them are for collecting, and the half that's collectible, just remember that it came from this bait right here.
I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's Frank's Badonkadonk series, and he will be painting custom thongs on the back end of the Arbogast buzz plugs.
And we just lost our title sponsor. Good job out of you, Matt. Oh my gosh, that is so good.
No, you're not doing the
No,
leopard print dog on the back of the Harbor Gas bus log.
only you can
If you can
prevent
see the
forest
lace
fires.
edging.
Only you can prevent forest fires. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's overlooked. That's just overlooked a lot. Is the nuances. We talk about nuances of everything on that, and when it comes to the topwater, it's like, oh, was it a walking or a popping bait?
Yeah, and they're all different. They're all different.
Yeah. So, I'm sure.
Joey, leave it to Joey to bring us back to the depths of hell.
That there will be a big LureNet drop like on the main page. Right now, it is not like on the main page. So, like, if you go to LureNet,
What do you got to go to specialties?
No, specials,
No.
custom lures, signature series.
Where did you find it?
Okay, so this is how I found it. So you just go to LureNet, and then
Type in Hall of Fame.
no, you go up to the top right there. What did I type? And then you type in limited edition.
Oh, all right.
Boom! There are all 4 of them. So this is a little DTL Day 4 preview purchase here.
Yeah, they
hasn't,
should.
Officially dropped, but it's out.
They should have a banner on it.
Yeah, but use, like I said, capital BTL 25. Literally, there's no downside to doing that. You get 15% off of that.
Yeah, and all the proceeds go to the Bass Hall of Fame
for these lures. Yep. Well done, Frank.
Dude, it's cool. The Hall of Fame thing, to me, is kind of an important thing because I think people should know the history of our sport. We've said that in the past, so I won't beat a dead horse, but So okay, so history of the sport. So what do you think? And I believe it was Jim Bitters was known for.
Was it Bob Cobb who asked Jim Bitter to remeasure the fish in the Bassmaster Classic? And when Bitter measured it, it literally shot out of his hands like a wet hot dog.
Right in the water.
Not that I mean, a wet hot dog might not shoot out of your hands. I can't say I've had.
How about a bar of soap, man?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's clean it up here, boys. Let's clean it up. Bar of soap. We're good. Bar of soap.
Back into the lake, and he never caught his winning fish, and he lost by ounces.
True. That's 100% true. I saw that. I saw that, on the Bassmasters, and I'm like, why didn't you put it down in the hole of the boat, dude? You never measure a fish on your front deck or back deck, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where it probably never happened to him before.
No.
And there's a couple things in fishing. Getting fish out of the live well at a tournament, measuring a fish on the front deck, boat flipping a fish when you've got a guy right there with the net, not taking your time to make sure you make the right call and eyeballing and losing by an ounce. I feel like when you're in tournament fishing, all of those things have to happen to you, and you come out on the losing end of it. Like if you watch a guy load his fish up at a Bassmaster Open and he's crouching over it like Schmiegel on the ring.
Yeah, boy.
At some point in that guy's life, a fish has jettisoned out of the live well into the lake while he was trying to bag him.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Same thing with the boat flip, same thing with the measuring. At some point, when you get a guy who's, is putting that measuring board down in the bottom of the boat in a tough tournament and measuring it, at some point, that guy measured one on the back deck and it went back in the lake and he never filled his limit.
So I was in a Bassmaster event and I had purchased, this is a while ago, I had purchased one of the newer culling scales that came out on the market. And I was so happy that I didn't have to, do all the rigmarole. I could just hook the fish on, boom, it's going to tell me which fish I got to call, which color buoy I got to call. So I'm in a tournament, Bassmaster event, and I'm catching them and I'm calling them, and it's like throw the brown buoy one out, throw the brown buoy one out. I pin it. I'm like, yeah. I catch another one, throw the brown buoy out. I'm like, yeah, throw the brown buoy out. I'm pinning them. I catch another one, and I click on it. It says throw the brown buoy out. I'm like, I grab the brown buoy fish and I look at the two fish and I'm like, oh my God, the fish I just caught is way bigger than the brown buoy. And so I'm like, holy crap. And then I pull all my fish out and look at them, and my red and white buoy was the smallest one I had, and it never told me to get rid of it. And I had been culling fish all freaking day.
Your second biggest fish all day.
Dude, I literally probably in that event cost myself over 20 grand. And I came in and I was sick. And KVD's like, what's wrong? And I said, dude, I used such and such a scale, and it was broke, and it was telling me to call the wrong buoy all day long. And he looks at me and he goes, where's your balance beam? The balance beam never lies. And I said, I didn't think I needed it with this new scale. He goes, well, lesson learned. Just like that. And from that day forward, I never use a scale. I balance beam everything.
I do a scale and then balance beam the smallest too.
Now with the new scales today, I would probably say they're way more accurate than back in the day when they first came out.
Let's be honest, Frank. I rarely have the issue of losing track of which fish to call. Like I'm just, well, I mean, we're having this conversation. I'll just get that out there, that is not a common occurrence in my Bassmaster Open, where you're catching the abundance and size to which you're like, oh my gosh, I lost track of the smallest one.
Well, but Matt, okay.
It happens all the time up north at smallmouth and stuff like that, so particularly.
So let's be the devil's advocate. Let's say you're on a spotted bass fishery.
Oh yeah, Lake Norman, when I was doing that, I was culling 20 times a day. Right.
You're culling between 1.9 and 2.5 all day long. Yep. You know what I mean? And so how, those ounces could be important.
Now it's a lot easier without co-anglers too, because like, let's say you're on Norman. You're like, everything that's over 2 goes on the right. Everything that's under 2 goes on the left. And you don't have to mess with the ones over 2. You have your deal. You only have 6 buoys because you weigh them with the buoys on, especially if you need to balance beam them.
Correct.
You always have 1 buoy in the bottom of the boat without a fish on it. Then
that's
correct.
You've
got 5 in the boat with a fish. As long as you can look back and you can see there's that one, you're good to make another cast. You don't have to mess with however many are in that side. And then once you have all of them in that side of the 2 pound, then you go through and then you do then you do a 2.5. So everything over 2.5 and it stays super easy.
Yep.
And
the other thing without the co-angler in the boat, you don't have to worry about when you're culling, he's whacking on them.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. But yeah.
So Joe Ferraro the third just boxed a 6-pounder. He's up to almost 25 pounds.
Outstanding, dude.
He's got to be on that John Bondi hole, Frank.
He's at the other end of the lake, bro. Because that was in Detroit.
It is Juice's Jig's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Juice.
Yeah, he is 42 years old.
Oh, young lad.
Young lad. Yeah, happy birthday, Juice. If you send him an email to Juice's Jigs, he'll send you a free custom hand-tied hair jig in honor of his birthday.
Not true. We have to disclaimer, not true.
Never know. He could.
Not true.
No, he hasn't talked to me about that, but he could.
He could. Hey, Matt said on day 4.
Just put free hair jig in all caps.
Happy birthday, bro.
Send me my free jig. I'm on one today.
Oh, man.
It's because I got that new bass cat in the garage.
I know, dude. It's sharp. You sent me all those pictures. That boat is nice, man. That boat's nice. He's Matt's.
I got a lot to learn about it though, because I've never had a 360 on it, and I got the 360 on it now. There's a little bit of the different power deal on it.
360 is going to help you out structure fishing a lot, especially on the smallmouth lakes you go to. That's what I'm going to tell you right now, because if you're on the Great Lakes and you're fishing a rock pile, and then all of a sudden you see come up on 360, there's an isolated boulder 25 feet off the rock pile. And that helps, dude. That helps. Now, I never had it on mine. Frankie tried to convince me to get it. Jonathan Van Dam told me that I'm an idiot if I structure fish and don't have it. But, you know, I'm kind of stuck in my ways.
I hear you, dude. There's some pretty big legends that are fishing this open. Bob Azumi's in it.
Oh man, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Charlie, but I saw Guy Eaker. Guy Eaker Sr. is still in it, out there in the press shirt and khakis, casting for small jaws.
Dude, I have the funniest story about Guy. So I knew him pretty well when I fished. One of the nicest people on the planet, by the way. And he had the 4-strokes just started peeking out in the bass world. And I think at the time he had a Honda 4-stroke. And I forget if we were in Florida. I forget where the hell we were fishing, but I was literally all focused in on what I was doing, and I was fishing these grass, some matted, some not matted, and I was really intently focused on what I was doing. I literally had my head buried down, and I was doing my thing, and all of a sudden, it's like, "Hey, Frankie, how are you?" I almost jumped out of my boat, dude. I didn't know he was there. He idled up next to me, and I didn't hear the motor. And this voice started talking to me. I'm like, oh my God, God's talking to me. I almost fell in the lake. He scared me so bad.
It's like an ocelot.
Oh yeah, dude. And so I turned around and he goes, "Did I scare you?" And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I said, I didn't even hear you. I said, I didn't even know you were there. He goes, "Aren't these motors beautiful?" And I'm like, yeah, holy crap. You know, you could literally almost fish with it on. If you want.
Oh, I've done it. I've had to call the tournament director before, Frank.
Trolling
I'm at Oneida. No, I'm at Oneida. It's windy as hell. Windy. And I get off my spot, and I've got a co-angler with me. And I power idle up 100 yards, and I have the trolling motor still down. And I take my life jacket off. I jump up, and I make a cast. And I look at my co-angler, and I go, "Is the motor still running?" And it's windy as hell. He gets down. He goes, "Motor's still running." And I said, "I got major issue." And he's like, "Why?" So I reel in. I just made one cast. Turn off the engine. Sit down. Call Chris. And I'm like, "Chris," said it was windy. I was power idling back up. He goes, "Did you catch a fish? Did you gain a competitive advantage?" I said, "No, I made one cast. Realized it was on. That was it." He goes, "Okay, thanks for letting me know." I said, "What's the penalty?" He goes, "You're good."
Yeah. It was not done with malice.
Right, but technically I had the big engine on. Correct. In idle and then made a cast. So if I was to do that, I should have had my life jacket
Correct.
On up front with it.
Dude, I wonder how many times that happened when the 4-strokes got good. And
that's why it happened. It was like, yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, if my motor's running, you know it's on.
Yeah, look at this post from Guy. I remember this. This was in 2021 on Lake Norman. I ran into Guy at the boat launch before day one. Now this was 4 or 5 years ago, remember, but like, look at this.
Yes, sir. That's unbelievable.
That was me when I was 13, and then me when I was almost
14.
late 30s. And Guy looks the exact same.
I know he does. Exactly.
Exact same. Moves the same, talks the same.
Yeah, he's so nice.
Every
man.
time I'm hungry and I see a Bojangles when I'm in that neck of the woods, I will stop in honor of Guy Akers Sr.
That's outstanding.
Is there anything that you purchase, buy, or go out of your way to do because you knew they supported fishing or supported one of your buddies who was sponsored by them, or it just clicks in your head that at one point in time they helped someone, your buddy in the industry, and now you're still loyal to them just because of that? I do that all the freaking time.
Yeah, I do the same thing, to be honest with you. And not just with fishing either. Like the Kelsey brothers, they have their own beer now. It's called Garage Beer. And because when they were little, they would come here, and sell garbage bags and stuff for his high school football. And then my son grew up and he played at the same high school that they did. So yeah, I do stuff like that to support that stuff. Even though the Kelsey brothers don't need the money from the beer. But
We were talking about before the show, when I first got my boat, I was a AMS oil or AMS oil, whatever you say that.
AMS oil, yeah.
AMS oil because of that and that. Like I would always stop it when I first started fishing Citgo.
Yeah.
Gas stations just because of the Citgo.
Oh yeah.
Bassmaster class. Like just little things like that I don't think.
Yeah, you have to
you
have to support, especially if you're fishing the pro events, you have to support the title sponsor.
Well, like, I mean, I've got all these choices to make the boat shiny and sparkly, and I always go with like Boat Bling because they support Josh Bertrand, or did I do
Yeah, and that's
all sorts of just little stuff like that.
That's how it works. I mean, that's how it works. Like
especially non-endemics.
Yeah, like I use OSI brand stuff
still
to this day. And here's another thing. When I was first starting out, one of my first sponsors was Maselli's dairy products, and so I still buy their cheese and stuff because they supported me back in the day, and so I continue to support them to this very day. That's just how it works. That's why it works.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, I mean, in the professional bass world, think about it. If the anglers don't support the sponsors' products, right, then the sponsors pull the sponsorships back. So if you want more money in the sport, you got to support the people putting the money in the sport. And that's kind of how it goes. I mean,
Oh, the guy with my favorite name, who I'm going to get on the show. He's fishing this. He hasn't put any in Bass Track. One of the best names in bass fishing. You ready for it? Jack Daniel Williams.
Now, Fish told me that I had one of the best names with Scalish.
Fish Scalish.
Scalish. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that. You do.
Yeah, that's what Fish told me.
You had a great opportunity. Instead of Frank Scalish Jr., it could have been Fish Scalish.
Yeah.
You had like 3 opportunities.
Or Fish Scales. And Fish said it, so it had to be true.
Yeah. I wonder what he's up to.
Periodically, every now and then, him and I communicate. He's still as wild as he ever was, and still as funny as he ever was. I mean,
there's some wild stories.
Oh, my beginning days with him were out of control. They were absolutely out of control. We would laugh till we cried, man. He just didn't care. He just
And was also good.
He was good. He let it rip too, man. If he had something to say, he would just say it.
I wonder if I can pull up his archives. It would, it'd probably be under Claude, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So you know his fish story in the lock, right?
Yeah, I think you've told it before, where he catches. He's like pulling fish out in the.
He takes a fish out of his live well.
Yeah.
The lock is packed full. All right. He sneaks a fish out of his live well and he hooks it on one of his rods, and he lets it go over the side of the boat. He stands up and he's pretending he's fishing, and then whack, he gets one, right? And he pulls it in, he flips it in the boat and puts it in the live well.
Could you imagine that in today's day and age in social media?
Oh my God, dude. He started laughing. He was telling me the story. He started laughing. He goes, Frank, a half a dozen guys grabbed their rods, jumped on the front of their boat, and started casting in the lock.
Dude, his stats on Bassmaster are wild. He either tanked or top 10.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have many like 18th to 25th place finishes. It's like
all or nothing.
Yeah. It's like 82nd, 99th, 98th, 92nd, 3rd, 59th, 153rd, 96th, 3rd, 150.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, he was a lot of fun.
You probably remember that. Frankie said, I always supported Hooters franchise because of the FLW fisherman. That would be Brad D. Wall, who was sponsored by Hooters, who had them all come out. And that was primarily the most famous that really took off. I think one of his buddies may have owned some franchises or something like that. But that was back in the FLW days. But he was on the boat with the Hooters girls, and that was when Amart was trying to win that first classic in Pittsburgh off of the walls and in the background. And that was
I remember that.
That was ESPN. That was all that. And every time Aaron would hook one, they would always pan to the Hooters boat.
And they would
and then that totally, I was covering FLW around that time, couple years later too. And he would have it parked out there, and the local Hooters would have the chicks like greet him when he came off stage after weighing in his fish and his orange and iconic. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
That's wild. Did he have to wear shorts too when he fished?
I don't think he wore the. I don't think Brad D. Wall wore the. Let's see if I could find this. Let's see. Are there any images? It's saying here Brad Wall is out of Clarksville.
Yeah, I have no idea, dude. I don't know where he's from.
This is tracking because we're talking 2000 to 2008.
So
I'm doing some Googling here.
That's okay. You do the Googling. Oh, that's what it is.
What's that?
Oh, I was seeing something on my screen, but it's that. I forgot I put that up there.
Yeah, he had the whole Hooters boat with the yeah, that was old. There's not a whole ton. Look at this one. The Hooters, clams, wings, shrimp, and oyster.
Okay.
We're done with the show. We'll never do another show.
It's over. Who knows? Maybe Hooters will sponsor us.
But it was like a big deal. Like, look, they had like the Hooters fishing stuff. And
why did they put a bluegill on there?
I don't know. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, not really, man. I gotta, when we're done here, I gotta film a couple videos, and
my goal before the end of the year is to at least tie Grant for big bass frog fishing.
You better get busy.
That's what I'm saying. I got my work cut out for me.
Except you got way more time though, where you're
Probably.
at.
Yeah,
because you're still in the high 90s, hundreds, right?
Yeah, water temp's still over 90 degrees.
Oh yeah, you got some time yet. We're starting to get right. Grass is to the top now, and some of the grass lakes, it's to the top, starting to mat. I can't wait till it starts to mat up. I need a punching day from hell.
I do too. It's most.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a 20-pound day on top where they hit it on a pause, but hit it like it owes them money? Or would you rather have a 20-pound day punching topped out grass with a 1 ounce weight where they hit it
and
like it owes them money, but after the first hop?
I'll go punching. I'll go punching all the way.
I think I would too.
It's just spectacular.
And to me, the best one is when it goes down, it hits the bottom, you pop it, and then as soon as you get to the top and it starts to go slack, it's dunk, because then you have to take up, you have to get down, and you have to do it in a hurry.
Yeah, they freight train it, dude. Oh, come here, you. Lenny wants to say her parting goodbyes to the show.
I feel like maybe Lenny deserves a custom Lenny color. Just look at Lenny and how she's colored. That would be a cool.
So here's the thing. Okay, so my daughter and my wife wanted to come up with names for this cat, and I said we're going to call her Lynx.
Yeah,
Lynx turned into Lenny, and I wanted it Lynx, but it's Lenny now.
Lynx, Lenny. It's the same. I thought we were going into a long story, so I killed the music.
No, but it really accentuated the namesake.
Same time, same place next Thursday. We'll talk to everyone then. See ya.